I think it's officially time to start our panel. So I'd like to introduce
Awesome.
everyone to Jen Nelson. Um, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Um, if you wanted to start us off by telling us a little bit about your education, like your career, where you're at now, just like tell us anything about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, so much for having me. It's really exciting. I love talking to students, especially ones from Columbia, since I, am a Columbia alumni, and it's just such a great school, and it produces such great students and professionals, and I'm just really excited to meet with all of you today. And so, yeah. Um, a little bit about myself. I grew up in a little town called Rolling Meadows. Some of you may know it. It's about 45 minutes outside of Chicago. Thank you. Um, and it's a really small town outside of a really big city, and so I really got best of both worlds growing up. Really small town values, but really the exposure to all the culture and everything that a big city gives you. So that was really exciting. Even though my family didn't have a lot of money, I felt very fortunate to be able to go to museums for field trips and stuff like that. I mean, like what kid gets to go to the field museum for a field trip? It's really exciting. Um, so so yeah, I quickly fell in love with art very young because of all of the things that Chicago exposed me to. And I loved the Art Institute. When I was in like third grade, I made a cardboard paper model of the Art Institute. Like it was like this big thing I made out of cardboard, and like you can like look into it and see the paintings like hanging on the wall and stuff. I was like all into it, and I just loved art so much, and I loved I loved that museum and everything. Um, so yeah, so I really experimented a lot with different kinds of art, and I discovered animation, and and I really really liked animation because there was so much mystery to it. I was like, how do they do it? And that's really what like attracted me to a lot of art, like like hyper realistic art. I was like, oh my gosh, how do they do that? I want to know how they do that. I want to be able to do that too. And same thing with animation. It was like I just couldn't wrap my head around how these pictures were moving, these drawings. Like people would draw these things and they're moving, and I'm like, that's crazy, and I want to know how to do it. So I decided at a very young age, I think I was probably about 11 or 12, that I wanted to make cartoons one day, and specifically, just like make art, but like, specifically make cartoons and learn how to animate. Um, so my path to that, I thought, well, these are drawings. I looked at animation as an art form. I said, these are drawings. In order to do this, I need to learn how to draw. So I really focused more on learning how to draw than anything else. Um, so I started focusing on that in just like in grade school. My mom actually she did like art art appreciation classes to our and she didn't like as a volunteer to our class like in grade school. So I was exposed to that, and then I took all the art classes that thankfully that my small little public school offered me. I mean, it was honestly something for something that was such a small little town, and one little public school and everything. Really they really encouraged the arts and stuff like that. So I just feel really really grateful for that. And so anyway, that continued throughout junior high and high school. in high school, I got really deep into art. I was also a really big troublemaker, but I was thankfully like definitely saved by my art teacher who just like saw something in me. And I wanted to, I had a lot of detention to serve and stuff like that, and she convinced the dean to allow me to serve my detention in the art studio, which was what basically, I always say, basically saved my life. Because I think that I could have very easily turned to the bad crowd, drugs, things like that. But instead, my art teacher steered me into the art studio, and that eventually led to me being able to get some awards and going on to getting a scholarship at Harper College, which you guys might know about it if you're from the Chicagoland area. It's just a small, it's just a small community college, but I got a scholarship there, and it was great. It was just a couple $1,000s for tuition. Wasn't much, but it was awesome. I was able to pay for my tuition and pay for like 2 years worth of art supplies. And as an artist, just right out of just imagine, you just moved out of your parents' house, you are going to college, and then it's here's an unlimited supply of art, or unlimited supply of art supplies. Have fun, and it's oh, that's so great. And all I had to worry about was who's going to pay my rent, because I'm just gonna do art obviously all the time. So it was again, I just feel really grateful about just all of that, and just things that the opportunities I was able to find for myself and take advantage of and really go for, because it's not like any of these things were handed to me. I really worked hard for them, and in order to get this scholarship, it was a lot of I had to show portfolios and things like that. So it's really a lot of how you're presenting yourself and finding those opportunities and taking advantage of it. And that's what I did a lot. And that eventually led me to, so I got a couple associate's degrees at Harper College. And then I decided so I got my gen eds out of the way there, and I got fine art stuff done there. So there I specialized mostly in figure drawing. I took so much figure drawing. I've seen so many naked people, and I've drawn so many naked people. My fiance is right behind me. But it's true. And it's if you look at my entire hardcover portfolio is at my mom's house right now, because I just didn't have enough money to ship it out here. And so I have 250 drawings of naked people in my mom's closet right now. So figure drawing is so important, people. It is so important. You definitely want to do as much figure drawing as you can. The human form is, it's just whatever kind of entertainment you're talking about, whether it be animation or acting or dancing or anything, it all comes down to the human form and the human emotion and the human experience of it all. And in order to get that across, you want to make that human feel alive, and so figure drawing really helped me with that a lot. And I love looking at some of my very first figure drawing drawings, and then some at the very end, or some even super recent, and it's gosh, you could just see the spark in the eye of the human, and it's that's what you just learn with just drawing a lot, just keep drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. So yeah, you figure drawing. So other things that I did at Harbor College, I did a lot of painting and color theory. I actually was one of the first people in the art department to actually do a little animated film for their final thesis, which was really cool. And then that all brought me to Columbia College. And at Columbia, I did a lot at Columbia. It was such a fun time. I went to Columbia for 3 years. So since I did 3 years at Harper College. So since I did a lot of things there, I was able to transfer a lot of things over to Columbia. So I did 3 years in order to get my degree. At that time, it was Bachelor of Arts, and my concentration was in traditional animation, and I focused a lot on production management. I was the producer of our APS film, and I really, like I said, it all came down to like when I was younger, and I was fascinated by like, how do people do this? And that's what like really drew me to production management. It was like I got to like learn how to do everything, and like production management, and I wanted to be the director of the APS film. Like, trust me, like leading up, I was an artist. I was like, I have a vision and all this stuff. I really wanted to be the director. And then Ron was like, Jen, you really need to be the producer. You really, really need to go for this. You have this special ability to organize things and to see how, and to strategize, to see how things kind of are all laid out. And that really goes back again to my fascination of process. And I thought about it. I go, looking back, a lot of things that like now I'm a crafter. I still do it now. Like, things will fascinate me and I'll be like, gosh, I want to learn how to do it. But once I uncover the mystery of the process, then I'm good, and then that's kind of, what my whole creative career has been, is just really experimenting with things. So I thought about it a lot, and I was like, yeah, I love process. Like, that's my thing, So I was like, okay, Ron, I'll try. I'll give it a shot. And I said I'll be the producer, or I think it went something like, does anybody else want to be the producer of this? And everyone else was like, mm. And then Ron was like, does anybody have a problem with Jen being the producer? And then they were like, nope. And now we're like, okay, Jen's the producer of the film. So I think a lot of my peers also saw that I had a lot of ability to organize things and kind of lead things. When I was at Columbia, I worked in the animation cage. I don't know if you guys like still have the cage or call it the cage or whatever, but I worked there. So, I talked to everybody every single day. And I also, much like this, but not as successful, ran a animation club. And, I really made networking very important when I was in school, because I felt that, having just the community, and, because animation is all about collaboration. And that's what you guys may have heard. It was the Animation Collaboration Society. And it was really just about like bringing people together and bringing different like skill sets together in order to collaborate and network and things like that. So everyone was totally fine with me becoming the producer of our APS film, and from there, I absolutely loved it. It was stressful as hell. It was so stressful, but it was fun. If anybody doesn't know, the film that we made was The Three Artists. And that was in 2008. And but I love it. I loved the story. I loved everything about it. And it was just such a wonderful learning experience. And I feel that this program that Columbia has is so unique to anything else in the industry that, everybody who goes through that course really just has a little bit of a better understanding of how a team works, and I've really, really noticed that with a lot of the people that I've worked with and interviewed and hired and things like that. So everyone be grateful for that if you're in APS or going to be in APS, because it's fantastic. So APS, we finished, we celebrated. I actually was at the Cannes Film Festival when we premiered our final film, so I wasn't even there, but the whole crew did a great job. And then after that, I found out actually while I was at the Cannes Film Festival that I had been accepted into the internship at Nickelodeon. And that's something that I worked really, really hard at my resume for. I wrote like 10 different cover letters and just like got it perfect. And I had, it's real, like presenting yourself, just like I did back when I got the scholarship and everything. It's presenting yourself in a way that's just, it looks like it's important to you. It looks like you took the time and it's really important. And like, just like, no errors, and like reading it just one more time and saying, is this the best that it can be? And, I probably do that like 10 times, but still it works, it works when you put in that extra effort and that extra little attention to detail. So that I got accepted into that internship. And then from there, my career basically started, and that was in 2008, like right out of college. And I started at Nickelodeon. And then from there, when I was putting this Zoom background together, I was like, gosh, I like really can't, I've been working in the industry for 12 years and I can't believe that I've done so much, it's really, really exciting. And I just absolutely love it. So real quickly, my first job was at Kung Fu Panda. I was a PA, and then I was promoted to senior PA and then coordinator. Oh my gosh, you know what? I did this wrong. My first job was actually on Ni Hao Kai Lan. That was directly after my internship. And that was, actually, no, that was not directly after my internship. I was unemployed for 6 months after my internship, and that was difficult. So like, remember everybody that there's going to be times where it's difficult, I mean, I've had other peers that have gone a year and stuff like that. And all you got to do is keep applying, just keep applying, keep trying, because eventually one day it will happen. My first experience right after my internship is I was unemployed for 6 months. Through that time, I interviewed 17 times, and it was difficult getting rejected again and again and again and again. And I thought, dang, maybe I'm not made out for this. But then I got a job on Ni Hao Kai Lan, and I got that job. I didn't even think I was going to get this kind of job because it was actually an art job. It was a color stylist, and I was applying to PA jobs, and it was very competitive, especially coming out of a very successful internship program. So it was competitive with all the other interns that I was, that I just graduated with, plus the new ones that were coming in, plus the old ones that haven't gotten a job yet. So I was just trying for PA jobs. And then I said, wait a minute, I'm also an artist. There's other jobs that I can apply to. And then I applied to Ni Hao Kai Lan, and they gave me an art test. And again, with the art test, it's all about how you present yourself. Just I checked every single pixel of that art test before I turned it in. I went over it again and again and again. If you think it's perfect, sleep on it, check it again tomorrow, because there's so many different details that go into anything that you present yourself with, whether it be a resume, whether it be a piece of artwork. And there's so much competition that you have to be the top tier. One little mistake can, you're still a fantastic artist, but one tiny little mistake can just knock you down before, besides somebody else who didn't make that same mistake. So I worked on that test really hard, and I got the job, and it was exciting. It was only for 6 months. So I knew that's the other thing about art jobs, is a lot of them are short term. So that was difficult, but after I was laid off from there, went through some more unemployment, then I really started my career. Then that's when I was at Kung Fu Panda, started as a PA coordinator. And then I went over to Star versus the Forces of Evil as a production coordinator. And then I went over, and so I switched studios. I was at Nickelodeon. I went over to Disney, TVA. And then from Star, I did first season of Star, and then I went on to the second season of 7D because they were having a lot of issues on their first season. So I went over there to kind of clean everything up, and that actually got me promoted to manager, which was super exciting because I was like, I'm there, I'm finally there, I'm a manager. And that was my goal. I just wanted to be a production manager so bad of a show. So that was really exciting. But then the 7D got canceled, and I was like, crap. So I didn't have a job, and thankfully Mickey and the Roadster Racers up here needed a color stylist. And since I had experience from Ni Hao Kai Lan, I showed them my portfolio and got a job really quickly, since I was within the same studio and I had built up my network there. That was only for a few weeks until I found a job at Sony Pictures Animation. I worked in development and overhead studio. So I did a lot of things with their tracking database. I was the associate production manager on a movie that was in development that actually was also canceled. They're not going to make it. And the writer of that is now shopping it around to other studios. So fingers crossed for him, but Sony won't be making it, which is unfortunate because we did 75% of the storyboards. Oh my gosh. And that's just what happens, So, but it was in development the entire time. It was beautiful, but one day, hopefully. It was really good. Anyway, from there, after that, I decided, I really love Sony, but I really also love working in television rather than feature films. So I went down to Bob's Burgers. And Bob's Burgers was a really fun, busy, crazy experience. It was like a whirlwind because that is probably the highest profile show I've ever worked on. And to have people like Nick Offerman and Kristen Schaal and just people just walking around your studio, hey, we're here for the table read and things like that. It was wow, this is just amazing. But with that it was a very, very large production crew. It was a production crew of 29. When you typically you only have 6 to 8 people in a production crew. So right now I have 2 people, me and one other person. But we can talk about why that is later. But it was a crazy big show, and I was the design supervisor, and really I felt that my skills were better meant for an overall production rather than just one little department. And so that's why I went over to Human Discoveries at Shadow Machine. And Human Discoveries is, you could actually watch that on Facebook Watch. It was made completely for Facebook, and it was just 10 episodes long, and it's an adult animated content, so it's really fun. And I actually kind of did double duty on that. First, I started out as the manager, and when we got everything established and everything, we actually had a change in producers. And when this producer came on, she was like, Jen, I know you're an artist too. Do you have any interest in doing color styling for this show? And I was like, yes, actually I would. And the reason why that was is because I honestly felt burnt out at that point. I had switched studios a couple times. So I was starting a lot of productions, and these productions were really, really difficult. And especially Human Discoveries, it was just a very, very low budget show, and the creative demanded a lot, and it was very stressful. And once we got everything set up and established, I was kind of done. I was like, okay, I need a break from this. I was actually like considering like taking a break or like, but they actually offered me the color stylist position so I could stay on for the rest of the show as an artist, but not have to deal with all of the shipping and management stuff like that was already established, but now just had to be executed throughout the production. So that was really cool. I worked on Human Discoveries both as manager and color stylist. And then when that show was finished, I came on to this new show that was just announced recently called Invincible. And I came on for just a 6-month period because they were having lots of trouble with just production, with the way that their schedules were set up, the way that their teams were structured, things like that. So I was hired on, which I've never heard this position before, but I had it. It was oh gosh, now I can't even remember it. It was Senior Production Manager International. And it was basically, I was the person who dealt with all of the studios internationally. I was like the middleman of everybody. We had a studio in Japan. We had a studio in where was it? Vancouver. We had a studio in Vancouver, here in LA, Japan, and I can't remember what the last one was. It was another Asian studio. Gosh, I can't remember. It's possibly it was in Singapore. I've worked with a lot of overseas studios. But so I was the person, like, making sure everybody from all of those studios were happy, and that one studio got something done in time so another studio could start something, and just kind of like coordinating all of that. And that also was extremely, extremely difficult. To be honest, there was a lot of decisions that were made like higher up that were just kind of different. And it was because the studio that was producing it up in Canada was a CG studio. All they have ever produced was CG stuff. And they were like, this is what we know how to do. That's it. Invincible is a 2D show. It's a very, very heavily designed 2D show. And you cannot build a 2D show on a CG structure. It just does not work. And then they also had some like hybrid things where they were trying to do like CG crowds and stuff like that. With all that said, there's a lot of crazy creative things going on without the right structure of the production team. So it was, there was no like one manager that was like holding everything together. It's like I was trying to hold all the studios together, but I had like no say in like the storyboard department and like how they were structured or how they were doing things. So all I could say is like, hey, storyboard team, you need to get this storyboard over to Japan by this date. Otherwise, Japan can't do their work. But I didn't have any say in like how they were going to get to that date. So really, I was like at a loss. I couldn't really do anything. I didn't really have a lot of power to make any changes. I tried a lot, but it was very difficult. And there was also like a revolving door of producers. So it was every time a new producer came in, they had new ideas and they had to get updated on the processes and stuff like that. So that was always really difficult. So after that, I decided to take a break. I decided that I had been on 4 very difficult projects that didn't, really wasn't very satisfying to me, like just personally. And I wanted to, take a break and explore other things creatively. So I took, I think it was about 6 months off, maybe I can't remember. It was maybe about 6 months off, and it was great. It was fantastic. I wrote a lot. I drew. I thought a lot about what I wanted to do with my future, things like that, and I just kind of like recalibrated everything. And then I got an email from my producer that I worked with on at 7D, and he said, hey, we're having a wrap party next week for one of our shows. Do you want to come? You get a VIP thing. And I was like, oh, that sounds fantastic. Oh my gosh, my old crew back at Disney. Oh my God. I was like, oh my gosh, I was really starting to get nostalgic for my crew from Disney and stuff like that. So I went, and then he offered me a job back at Disney, and that's where I've been working ever since. And he hired me as a manager, and then promoted me to associate producer, and that's what I'm doing now. And that's what I'm going to be doing. This project goes for the next year or so. So yeah, that's it. That was, gosh, I was trying to make it like short, but that's what I've been doing with my life.
Yeah, thank you. That was
of course.
It was the perfect amount of time.
Okay, good.
So now we're going to open it up to some questions in the chat. So whenever the people who are here, the attendees, have a question, will you guys write in the chat? But until then, I just want to ask you a quick question before the questions start flowing in. How do you deal with like burnout and self-care in this industry?
Yeah, well, I kind of told you a little bit about it, and I'll go even more into that. I took a break, and that's important. I was I gotta like catch myself, because I was a perfectionist. I am not anymore, because being a perfectionist is not possible. It's not. I told you guys, you can check your work a million times, but it's just never possible to be a perfectionist. And I had to let that go. And what that took was 6 months off of work and therapy, actually. I had a therapist. She was like a therapist and a life coach, and she like insurance paid and everything, thank goodness. And I'll talk about that too. Like, there's options out there, don't be ashamed of seeking out help, and don't feel ashamed for asking for help in order to get that help. You know, like I had to go through a lot of things with my past employers and things in order to get the help that I knew that I needed. So I went to therapy. She specialized in burnout. And I met with her for, I think it was like probably most of the 6 months. And she really taught me that life is about progress, not perfection. Actually, my nutritionist tells me that too. So, it's about progress, not perfection, because it's just like being an artist, just like I was saying about the figure drawing. You're always going to get better and better and better, and so letting go of perfection was probably the most freeing thing that I've ever done for myself, and allowing myself, giving myself the permission to take a break, telling myself that I deserve a break. Like, I am not going to be like, on the streets and stuff if I go and take a nap, like I'm not going to lose my job if, I decide to sign off at a decent time today, because, like, let's get real. Everyone has a life, and we are hired to do a job and not hired to live this job. So, give yourself time for Netflix, give yourself time for bubble baths, give yourself time for sitting out on the balcony or sitting outside, going to a park. Just give yourself time. Give yourself time to reflect about how you're feeling, about your, like within, like I there's times where it's like, I'll say, dang, I'm not feeling too good today, like emotionally, like I just like kind of feel bummed out, how am I going to combat this, or how am I going to embrace this, and then I give myself permission to make that decision. Most of the times I'll embrace it and go take a nap, or other times I'll say, you know what, reading puts me in a really good mood. Maybe I'll pick up a book and read, and that will combat it. So really remember, and I'll leave this topic with what my producer Bradley always tells me, is that there are no animation emergencies. Zero. There are no animation emergencies. There are, however, health emergencies, family emergencies, life emergencies, but there are zero animation emergencies. And that is something I will never, ever forget. And it's, you always put yourself first. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was great. We're gonna go on to the questions in the chat. So Jack, if you want to ask your question, now's the time.
Yeah, my first question was, what were the key points of you choosing to change studios when that was like up to you? Were like there any specific like red flags to look out for, like of like this isn't really working for me, and like how did you come to the conclusion?
Yeah, and it's going to be different for everybody. I've had, like right now I say, oh, I love Disney, like Disney's my favorite place. I never ever want to work anywhere else. But I also know another Columbia alumni actually who said, I would rather work at Shadow Machine than Disney. They pay me better, things like that, So, and so it's definitely all a personal preference, or, kind of personal experience. It also goes by show, depends on what crew you're working with, things like that. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But for me personally, leaving Sony, I felt that the pace was too slow for me. Working in feature film and working in television is a very different pace. And I mean, like I was telling you guys, we storyboarded 75% of a feature film, and then it was just like, nope, sorry, we're not doing it. And it was like, like what the hell, you know? And like, and from there, it was like, you know, after that, it was like, oh, Jen, you're gonna kind of help out here and there until we start development on this next movie in about 6 months. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I gotta drive like a 90-minute commute for this. Like it just wasn't fulfilling for me. So that's why I left Sony. I left Bob's Burgers. To be completely honest, is I was not getting along with the like the one of the supervising producers, and I felt that, I mean, that's definitely not the only reason, but it helped. It helped me make that decision. Like I was saying before, I was only part of one department. I led the design department. There was a lot of other departments that I had zero control over, and I felt that my skills could be used better. And it was also this relationship that I had with one of the producers. Was I didn't agree with the way that with a lot of decisions that she made. So, you know, I've always, I have a strong opinion on how people should be treated within a production and how productions should be run. Like I just said, there's no animation emergencies. On Bob's Burgers, there was animation emergencies, you know, and if you didn't take care of the emergencies, you're going to hear about it, you know. And there are people who absolutely love working on that show, but it just was not for me. So that's why I decided to, and then I also had this opportunity that like popped up. It was like perfect timing, popped up to go over to Shadow Machine on Human Discoveries to establish this new show and kind of set it up from the ground up, which was very, very fun and very stressful, but it was a lot of fun to like be at the very, very beginning of it. And like, I mean, I set up everything from like the original schedules to like the processes of like how we're going to do art reviews and stuff like that. And those are the things that like really like I find like really fun. So I enjoyed that. But then once again, once that was kind of done and established and that process was over, and now all we had to do is execute, I was kind of ready to move on. And that's when I went into the color styling, and then the show ended. So a lot of the times, you know, the show just ends. That's what happened most of the time, is like the production ends and I gotta find another job. But in those instances, that's what happened.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Just
You're
curious.
Welcome.
Cool. So if you want to go to the next question, that would be perfect.
Okay, hi. So what does a color stylist test look like? And what's the job like? And, you know, do you like it and stuff? And what would you showcase in a portfolio, like if you're trying to get that position?
Yeah, let me actually, if I could share my screen, I'll show you guys kind of what a test looks like.
Cool. So now you have screen sharing access.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is my website here. So Fairly Odd Parents, this was a color styling test. So basically they give you, when you do color styling, it's characters and props, and some effects depending on the show you're working on. Background paint is a different position. But they'll give you all of these images in just the black and white drawings, just the liner, and you basically color them to how you feel they fit within the show. this position I did not get. However, it is a very good example because that's what I was told by the art director. I guess I like barely missed out. This was very early in my career, but that's basically what they would give you. I'll show you the test I took on Ni Hao Kai Lan, which is something I got going all the way down to the bottom here. So I took this test and this did result in a position. They gave me, again, just the black and white drawings of this, and then the size comps down here. And you just color them in how you think they fit within the style of the show, and turn it in and cross your fingers. And this was all done in Illustrator. The Fairly Odd Parents one was done in Photoshop. It all kind of depends on the style of show. I also took the BG design test and for this position, but I got the color styling test and position instead. So with that, they give you like a storyboard panel, and then you have to kind of like do a final background in color based on that storyboard panel. So that's what I did with both of these. And then you have to show a night version as well. And then this is just some of my work from Ni Hao Kai Lan. So, you know, when you're color styling or presenting your color styling, this is how I did it. As you can see, I haven't updated my portfolio since fall 2019. I should probably do that. I haven't done it because I am on a couple movies basically that are gonna go for a while, and I have no, I'm not looking, basically. I'm not looking for work right now. But I have it as, so as my professional portfolio, I have a few things from Mickey and the Roadster Racers, some characters and vehicles. It's like that. And then I also have down here the Human Discoveries thing. This is a lot of what you would also do as a color stylist or a color designer, is do different times of days. So, you know, you'd have your day, use any kind of special lighting, them around a fire, kind of the cast shadows and things like that. So, so for like this, I was given color backgrounds and all black and white characters. And I did the coloring of the effects and all of the cast shadows. Oops, sorry. On the characters. Can't really see them that well, but yeah. And then like you'll have to do variations. We do this a lot in animation where you use the same black and white image, and then you have to make, you know, different people out of the same drawing. You know, that counts differently within a contract with an overseas studio, other than having like a brand new design. So yeah, oh, that's like timely, huh? Isn't that horrible? This show is so irreverent. It's like, oh my gosh, it's really funny, but oh my gosh, it's like, okay, it's kind of bad. So that was, so yeah, like things like this, like, you know, drawing these shadows and stuff like this based off the storyboard. That's something that you would have to do as a color stylist. Just drawing all of the props, characters, a lot of, I would say probably like 95% would want to see a background behind the props and characters just to see how it works. So this is actually something that I did to boost my portfolio. So I actually got feedback from one of the recruiters at Disney saying that I needed more kind of like little lighting effects and stuff like that. And to be honest, I am not good with like digital lighting effects. I could like change time of days and do like cast shadows and stuff like that. But like these little like glows and stuff, like I I was not very experienced in them. So I tried, I actually like with this project, I like designed all these characters and colored them and everything. And then like just did these little lighting effects, which probably didn't boost my portfolio in the way that I needed it to. However, I had a lot of fun with this and like I want to pitch it as a show one day and I don't know. I love it. It was just fun to do. And then I got my test from Fairly Odd Parents. You can put your test in your portfolio. However, you want to clearly label it that this was a test. I've heard from some people that like, oh, don't put your test in your portfolio if you didn't get the job because like it's not good enough. But like honestly, like this work of Fairly Odd Parents, this got me a job on Mickey and the Roadster Racers. This did not get me a job on Fairly Odd Parents, but it got me a job somewhere else. So I say include it. It's your portfolio of work. This is work that you've done, and as long as you clearly label it and you're honest, then you're good. So yeah, that's what I have in my portfolio. And here's some other tests that I did. That's it. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's like
Of
a lot of
course.
really good advice. Yeah.
Awesome. Before the next question, I believe Frank had something he wanted to say.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, actually, you helped me out a couple weeks back when I was applying for a job working with Bradley.
That's right.
Yes, I had to take the time to come onto this video chat, and I want to personally thank you for that because I am working now.
No way. Did he hire you?
Yeah.
Bradley?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's great, Frank.
I'm
Awesome, Frank. That's great.
Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. I am telling you, you are so lucky. Okay, Bradley, like, Ron, cover your ears. Bradley has been so amazing. He is just my favorite. No. No, oh my gosh. Bradley is just amazing. Oh my God. I'm so
Yes,
happy
you're-
for you.
Thank you.
He is actually, when I took my break from my 6 months off, I was really like, I want to take a longer break. And the only reason I went back to work was because of Bradley. The only reason. He is just the best boss ever. And yeah, you're going to have so much fun. It's going to be awesome. So
yeah, no, thank you. It's been a lot of fun right now. So I'm happy with it. Yeah. We were chatting yesterday for a short meeting, and yeah, no, I mean, it's always great working with him. Yeah. It's got a lot of great positive energy. So yeah, no, again, thank you again.
You are welcome. You're welcome. See, it all is about, network and all that stuff. And yeah, that is so great. I'm so happy for you. Yeah. So happy for you. So
yeah, really means a lot. Like I say, I wanted to stop by just to personally thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, you probably know about, you know more about Bradley's project than I do. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to tell Bradley. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah. Couldn't happen to a nicer or more talented guy.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ron.
And thank you, Jen. You see how it works? It'll get passed down the chain.
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
One day you'll pay it forward too, Frank.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Absolutely.
You will.
100%.
When you're running Nickelodeon. Or
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So great. Yeah. I mean, it's all about, like, again, my producer, Switch Studios, he reached out to me and said, hey, I'm building my production team. Do you know anybody? I reached out to, my network, and now Frank's got a job. It's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Awesome. Cool.
That's so cool.
Thank you again. Sorry to take that spotlight there, but yeah, no, I just wanted to do that. You know, I really felt like I you know, it's definitely something that needed to be said.
Absolutely. Celebrated. That's so cool.
I definitely did when I got the job. That's for sure. I was like,
Yeah. I know. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, getting that first job. Oh my gosh, out of college. Oh, it's so like, oh my gosh, I did it. Yes.
no, that's right.
Hey, Jen, did you tell everyone about our Tom Ruger connection?
No, I haven't. Oh my gosh.
That's a great story.
Such a great story.
I worked on a lot of Warner Brothers shows, as some of you know, in the 1990s. Everything from Animaniacs through Tiny Toons through Hysteria, all those shows, right? And they were all, Tom Ruger was in charge of Warner Brothers Animation at the time. So we all worked with him. And the coolest thing is that Jen also got to work with Tom after she graduated, right? You can tell him just like for a couple minutes about that. Now that was awesome that we have that in common. And with such like a brilliant, creative, a little off the wall guy too, right?
Oh my gosh, so creative, so fun to work with, and oh gosh, he's just got like, I mean, he created the Animaniacs. I mean, come on, like his mind is just out there, and it was just so brilliant to watch sometimes. And oh gosh, yeah, it was really cool to have that connection. And yeah, working on the 7D was one of my favorite shows to work on because of Bradley, because of Tom. It was so cool. Yeah.
So that meant a lot to me. That, like,
yes.
Kind of like the next generation going on and working.
Yes.
With
Tom,
who's still out there. He's a really good guy, and he stays in touch with all of us on Facebook. He's a very
totally
regular guy.
Yep. And and when I told him that I was one of Ron's students, he knew exactly who Ron was. He was like, "Oh, this is great!" And yeah, he's such an awesome guy. Yeah.
And we should get him to come do the association.
Oh, he would love it. Oh, you guys should.
Damn.
Yes.
I didn't reach high enough. I'm here. Nothing personal. You're great, but. Go for Ruger and go for Andrew Huebner. Andrew, our friend at Nickelodeon, I bet would do it.
Yeah, he's like
one of the
VP
Nickelodeon
at development now. Yeah, you should get him. Yeah.
Only if they're interested. Helen, if you're interested in the VP of development at Nickelodeon,
I know, right? Oh, Andrew, I think would totally do it. Andrew is such like he's so like you can't read him very well, but he's very like giving, and he'll totally be out there he helped me get one of my first jobs too. And yeah.
Well, he's a Columbia graduate. And Jim,
yes.
Jim, you here? Jim Rohn, you still here?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
You have some great Andrew Huebner stories.
Yeah, the last
we all know him.
Yeah, last time I was out there, not teaching, but kind of hovering over the animation studios in LA. So that would have been January of 18. He and I got a chance to go over to Nickelodeon. We went out to lunch. I showed him a couple of projects I'm working on, got some feedback. He's a wonderful guy.
So great.
Even very patient with the fact that, yes, I was trying to act Mr. Pro, right? And I inadvertently left my phone in his car. And I didn't know it till I got to my next appointment at Disney to see another alumni, Marlon West. And I'm like, where's the phone? So Mr. Cool Guy from Chicago, I had to go back to Nickelodeon, back up to the reception desk, and go, can someone talk to Andrew? I think I left my phone in his car. He was very cool. Came down. Yeah, so Mr. Street cred, Hey, but anyway, Jen, one of my favorite pictures of you is mentoring Rachel Russakoff back in the day.
Yes.
So Jen, you're class of 09? I think.
I'm class of '08.
Not to do the math, everyone.
Yeah, I know, right?
Class of '08. One of my favorite stories to tell, Jen, is how wonderful. Ron talked about paying forward. Any of the alumni, grads that we've sent out there and put in contact with you, you've just always consistently been such a giving and helpful mentor, to Francesca's point earlier. And so one of my APS grads, Rachel Rusikoff, 2012, and you were able to click and hit it off. And then there's a picture of her supervising Katie Pembuku, who's class of 15.
Oh.
Everyone think about that. 08 helping 12, 12 helping 15, and then 15 helping 18, 19, 20. And Ron's right. All of you, when you get out there and you become rock stars, one of our, in addition to 10% of your salary for about 5 10
Yeah.
we insist on. But the main thing we insist on is you pay it forward. I was just telling that to my APS victims this year. That's class of 21, Jen.
Wow.
When you get out there, one of your jobs is to mentor the class of 24, and then have them do 27 until Ron and I are like older, wise people. Helen, I wanted to ask you a question. Could you share my screen? Jen was talking about the film she worked on. And while we were sitting here, I
was gonna see if I could find the 3 artists, but I couldn't.
You mean this?
Let's see, do you have it?
Yes.
Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was so much fun to work on.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was fun, but there was you had a great experience, a producer director experience with Nico, working with Nico, she's a darling too.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
Right? And you guys, man, there's no crying in APS.
Oh my gosh, so many emotions.
I know. Yeah, well, such a
oh, so fun. It was so fun. And like I was saying before, like I just learned so much from it, and what a great experience.
Well, that's always my take, as my troops are panicking.
Yeah.
Any given year, Trish is here, right? She knows. Last year was very cool. One of my rock stars from last year. I said, well, how are we going to teach problem solving if there aren't any problems?
Exactly.
That's my best way of spinning it. But it's usually, I say somewhere around April, it's grab a bucket, the church is on fire.
Yeah. Exactly.
But Jen, I also want to just thank you. I mean, that really, I think, speaks to the culture of the program and all the animators, is everyone kind of has each other's back. Can't always help on any given job, but the support is definitely there. And the fact that we have such nurturing contacts in LA really is very important for all the people. It's a very gutsy move to like jump up out of Chicago and the wonderful weather here and head out to LA. That's a big leap of faith. And the fact that, people, you especially, you're our poster child for this, leading the way, but then all the grads since you have been able to really help. It really speaks well of all of you, besides your art ability, but just also as your character to it. So I just wanted to say that. So
thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely just, it is paying it forward. It is like, the more people that you have in your network that, you have that connection with, and, the thing that I love about helping Columbia students is that, like, I know where they've been, and I know what Ron and Jim have put them through, and I know they can handle it. Yeah. No, it's just it's really awesome to be able to help, have that community of the Columbia students and everything. And wait
a minute. That's a vicious rumor. That's only the 2D team. That's only the 2D team. Trisha will tell you I'm a sweetheart with the CG.
You were pretty nice to me.
You know what,
At a
Jen?
certain point, our team had to tell Jim to stop talking every now and then.
Yeah, Ron does that too. Jen, 1 year APS 14, there was only one section, so Ron and I co-taught it, and we almost killed each other. Actually, one of our stronger films. It's one of our stronger films. We almost killed each other.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, don't work with your friends. No. I've learned that the hard way a couple times now. Oh gosh. No, it's so awesome that, you know, Columbia does have this community and this class, and just, you know, that we keep this network up, you know, after graduation and everything. Yeah, it's, you know, it was really fun having Bradley last year tell me how many people from Columbia that he has worked with so far, and now he's got more, and it's really cool. So thank you.
I think that is so sweet and amazing to see that happening. So I just wanted to make sure that was showcased. So thank you, Frank, for bringing that up. That's just amazing.
Thank you.
The next question is, what does the average day and responsibilities look like for an associate producer during these circumstances?
Ooh, during these circumstances, well, I sleep in a little later now, which is very nice. I wake up about 8:30 now. My work day can start anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. We don't, on my production, I never restrict start times. We never clock in, we never do any of that. It's you start when you're able to start, as long as you make your meetings. So like on Tuesday, I had a 9 o'clock meeting, and today I had an 11 o'clock meeting. So, you know, I was able to, you know, start a little bit later today. And let me tell you, this does not happen often. Usually it's like a lot busier and a lot crazier. Like there's other producers at the studio right now who are like, I'm up to like answering emails to like 3 o'clock in the morning. However, my production right now is we're on time, we're on budget, and there's no animation emergencies. So we're doing really good right now. And we just shipped, I'm working on actually two longer form things that are going to be going on the channel and Disney Plus. And we just finished shipping the storyboards for the second project. And so now we're just finishing up design. So we actually don't have a lot on our schedule. So it's been a little chiller. But so I'll tell you about a day like back in March instead. So 9 o'clock meetings would be meeting with the entire producing team at Disney Junior and going over any updates on hiring processes or HR updates, things like that. Then after that, we would have a smaller breakout meeting with the Disney Junior producers. So I'm part of the Disney Junior production unit. I'm working on the projects that I'm working on are basically like a spin-off from Mickey's Mixed Up Adventures. So it's the Mickey Mouse Disney Junior Productions. So we have a smaller meeting with them, and then we go into more production, like single production stuff, where we would meet with our executive producer, our art director, directors, and go over any designs. And we do this all on Zoom, and we use SyncSketch as well. So we go over designs that have been turned in, and we approve or give notes. My role in design reviews are looking for things that are like, hey, is this going to be too complicated for our overseas studios to accomplish? hey, is this set like not within our budget to like make? Like that just popped up the other day. Like there was a set that was like in an art review, and I was like, hey guys, where'd this set come from? And they're like, oh, this is the new park. And I'm like, guess what? We're not paying for a new park. We don't have the money for a new park. And they're like, well, we need a park. So it's my job to like go back to our overseas studios, our production accountants and executives, and find money to design and execute a CG park. So that happened. So things like that, you know, that's my role in those kinds of meetings. And then I'll meet with like my production team, like my coordinators and my production secretary. They call them production secretaries at Disney. I think that sounds so like old school. They call them an assistant or something. I don't know. I just don't like that they call them secretaries. Her name's Morgan. She's a beautiful girl or woman. So I'll meet with Alex, my coordinator, and Morgan, and my secretary or assistant, and go over like the schedule for the week. Like, you know, our EP is out on Friday, so we got to move the Friday meetings to this time, and, you know, just kind of help facilitate all of that. It's really, my job is a lot of like delegating, which is nice. I like that I'm in the delegation position now, whereas, you know, for the past 10 years, I've been in like, you know, I've been the coordinator, you know, breaking down all the scripts and signing, you know, stuff and shipping and stuff like that. You know, so I delegate a lot. I make sure that that everything's happening. And then it's emails. It's like emails for the rest of the day. It's people asking me, like, you know, for COVID, everyone gets a certain allotment to set up their home office. So it's people like, hey, Jen, I want to buy this chair. It's $150. Is this approved? And then I'll go talk to the accountant and blah, blah, blah. All those people again, get it approved and say, yes, do this, fill out your expense report, blah, blah, blah. And then it will charge to the production. And then at the end of the month, I'll get a cost report back, and I'll see that all my stuff's been charged. And so that goes for like every department. So it's like, we have, you know, everything that gets recorded, invoices get charged to my cost report, things, you know, all the artists. So I also approve all the time cards. So all the artists, they allocate their time to what episode, what production they're working on and everything. So I make sure that they're allocating their time to the right budget. And then when that budget comes back, making sure that we're within that budget. Yeah, dealing a lot of like artist extensions. I deal a lot with artist extensions and like the schedule, basically. Like there's like the day-to-day schedule of things, but then there's also like the overall production schedule where it's like, you know, I have an artist, his name is Flammarion. He's super talented, and we are at like the tail end of these projects, and we're like, okay, we have 6 backgrounds left to do. And I'm working like with my coordinator to get these numbers and stuff. She goes, Jen, we have 6 backgrounds left to do. And Sai, our art director, says that each background is going to take 2 days. And I'm like, okay, so that's 12 days. And he only has 5 working days left in his, you know, assignment or his contract. So I have to look at that and say, well, we need him longer. Or do we need to hire somebody else and bring them in to help? In our case, we love Flammarion, and we would just rather employ him longer. So working out how much that's going to hit the budget, how that's going to hit the schedule, how that impacts our overseas schedule with us shipping those few designs a little late because it's going to take us longer than we expected. So yeah, figuring out a lot of those things, and then making the decision on how we're going, on like, what are we going to do? And, you know, like for me, it would be like, okay, we're going to extend Flammarion. So I'd go into the database, I would change his end date. The email goes out to everybody. I tell Flammarion, hey, Flammarion, we extended your end date. And And then I tell all those people again, and then the circle just keeps going around and round and round. And I keep doing that with everything until the project's done. And that's pretty much my role right now.
Great, thank you. That was very helpful, because like we learn a little bit about it in like our like time here at Columbia, but like hearing the day-to-day details makes it so much more clear of like what your job is. So thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. What's the next question?
I can just read it. It says, do you think with the current circumstances it's possible to
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
Someone else talking? I couldn't hear someone else talking. Sorry, Helen, go ahead.
Okay. Do you think with the current circumstances it's possible to get a remote position at studios like these in the production or show development area?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I asked the question. I actually want to reword it a bit. Is that okay?
Oh, sure.
I'll put my video on as well. Hi.
Hi.
So I'm also asking about like, because my question sort of sounds like I'm talking about higher level positions, but I'm also talking about like entry level positions and maybe positions like background designers and character designers, colorists, like color designers as well, like in California, but like remotely, let's say, because I want to stay in Chicago after I graduate, but I also don't want to be in the advertisement area for too long. So I was just wondering if it's like possible to get like a background designer job in California, but working in Chicago.
Yeah, okay, so there's a few different scenarios that you could go through. If you want a union position at a union studio in California, you have to be living and working in Los Angeles. You could get away with working in Orange County, but if you want a union position. If you want to be a part of the, animation, I guess it's just the Animation Guild, TAG, yeah. So yeah, that's like the one stipulation. With that said, if you do freelance or single assignment where you pick up just one project, or if you do something that we call daily call, where it's kind of like, you could have work that day or you could not have work that day kind of thing. If you're not in the union, then yes, you could work anywhere. I have somebody on my crew that's not in the union who's working in Georgia right now. She actually decided to move there after COVID to stay with her family. So yeah, that's all definitely possible. As far as like hiring and stuff goes, you could absolutely get hired right now working remotely. It's kind of like we have to hire people and we have to keep things moving. And we're one of the only sectors in the entertainment industry that can really, do all of this without any interruption. And so yeah, people are definitely hiring. And when you do have, interviews and stuff like that, they'll ask you, where you're living and stuff. And yeah, union, no, but everything else, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jack, I see you had another question.
Yeah, I think my question just kind of bounces off of that pretty well. So thank you, Bayan. So having worked from home this long, and I've been asking this to a lot of people, but what are your estimations on work from home potentially becoming more viable or even the norm in the industry? Can you make a prediction?
I would say that it's very possible that the animation industry can lead to say everything eventually everything was back to normal and stuff like that, and everyone had the option to going back to work. I think that they've seen how efficient people can work at home, but they've also seen the need for people to be in person too. And I think what the industry is leaning towards is like a 50-50 kind of split thing, you know? And that is going to help not only with just like commute and stuff, but like overhead budget and everything. I mean, gosh, we're spending so much money on overhead that we're not using right now. And it's made it very clear that we can produce a show without having to pay this overhead. You know, there's definitely some things like recording. Recording is something that we're going to have to re-record the entire project in ADR just because the quality is not there. You know, when we had all the recording done at everyone's at home studios. So things like that, we would definitely want to do mixes and records in person. We would definitely want to get together with the team like once a week, you know. But as far as like actual work, like, you know, sitting down at a Cintiq and drawing, I really think that we're going to be moving towards a lot of this as remote, and having maybe like shared workstations in the studio or something, or like, you know, a place where you can go that's just like not your own, but, you know, a place that you can get away from, you know, your family if you need to. So that's what I think is going to happen. I really have no idea. That's what I would like to happen. I would love to do a 50-50 split, like go in on Tuesdays and Thursdays and stay home the rest of the week. Yeah.
Thank you. That is a answer I've not heard yet, and I appreciate that a lot. I haven't even thought about the 50-50 thing, so maybe.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself there for a moment. Basically, so earlier when you were showing us your portfolio, you mentioned a show you wanted to pitch. Is like being a showrunner or like being the producer for a show like your dream job, or what are you currently working towards?
So right now I'm currently working towards becoming a producer, which at our studio, I have 2 more levels to climb. Basically, after associate producer comes line producer, and then just producer. And so that's what I'm currently working towards right now. With that said, it's absolutely my dream to have my own TV show, be a showrunner. And I've pitched 5 separate series. Well, it was a couple series and a couple short form things to both Disney and Nickelodeon. They were all rejected, but you know, just keep trying, right? You know, that's definitely something that I would love to do in the future. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next question. Should I be like looking at the chat? Sorry, I don't know.
Whoever has the next question, would you like to read it, or I can?
Okay.
Okay, I can read it. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and how did you deal with it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess probably I have, you know, like, I would say just like I've been on my own kind of like personal journey. Like, who I get like really personal here. Like, I've been on my own, like, you know, trying to find who I am for, you know, my entire life, you know, and, you know, like when you're younger, you know, and when you're a teenager and stuff, you like kind of like, you really think like you know who you are. But I'm 36 years old, and I feel like I just really am coming to find out who I truly am as a person, and my values and things like that within the past year, maybe. Really mostly when I started working with my therapist, and her asking me those questions, and her asking me to ask myself what is it that I really want in life, and things like that, you know. And so I don't know if I'm really answering the question right, but like, yes, you know, and it's just about, you know, understanding that humans evolve and change and grow every single day, and it's not the end all, and you're allowed to change your mind, you're allowed to change your values, and you're allowed to make your own decisions for yourself, and you really don't have to answer to anybody else. And so yeah, you know, learning those things really helped me, you know, kind of just figure out, you know, who I am. And not that, like, you know, and who you are doesn't really have like just one label or word or anything to it, you know. I'm Jen. You know, it's weird because like people keep asking me like, I'm getting married, by the way, yay, next year. And people keep asking me what the theme to my wedding is. And I'm like, it's Sam and Jen theme. I don't know. It's just like, it's just us, you know? And so, and, you know, I don't even know really, you know, what that is, but it's just, you know, your own unique individualism, and just embracing that and not really giving a shit what anybody else thinks about it, you know? So did I answer the question? I don't know.
Thank you. Next question is, what advice would you give to current or graduating students? And this can be like portfolio or networking or just any advice you might have.
Yeah, gosh. Okay, well, so my first advice would be always going back to remembering there are no animation emergencies, and that it's progress, not perfection. And you're going to get rejected. You know, you're going to get rejected, except for Frank gets a job right away. But no, a lot of people be prepared. No, just be prepared for, you know, rejection. I actually kept a list of all the times I got rejected on a show. Just I don't know why, but it's just, you know, when I look back at it when I do have a success and say, you know, like I just kept trying. It reminds you that you just got to keep trying. Like a rejection doesn't have to be the end of the world. You know, it usually means that there's something better just around the corner, you know? So just, you know, you got to just kind of keep that optimism, and you got to keep trying. And as far as like your portfolio goes, I would say look at a lot of other people's portfolios. Look at the people who you know are successful. I mean, obviously, there's people who have been in the industry a long time, who are a lot older, who have just you know, the time, you know, much more time on this earth to make that much more art. So don't like beat yourself up about like, oh, I don't have as much art. It's really about what you're showing and the variety, and just showing that you're versatile with a lot of different things, you know, showing lighting, and showing, you know, your figure drawing, and showing, you know, like on my website here, like I have like, and I'm not saying to do this, I do this because like my website is more for like, you know, I do other things, like I painted an electrical box, or like I craft and things like that. But like, I just have a variety of things to show like a lot of my skill sets in my main website. Then you have your like link to go to like your focused portfolio. You know, if you're looking for character design work, you want to be able to have that person click there and go, oh, I want to see their character designs. And then you could go to character designs and you could see all the figure drawing and all the realistic things, and then all the cartoony things and all of the, you know, all the different styles that you could do. And then, you know, things like that. And then, you know, be able to go back and say, oh, I also want to look at this guy's location stuff or this gal's location stuff. So having it being very versatile, but also having it organized and easy to read is very important. When I've been staffing a show, I will admit I've arrived at websites and they were too confusing for me to click around. So I just completely abandoned it. I was like, oh, I just don't have time for this website. And I just abandoned it because guess what? I want to click on another website. I mean, the artist is probably really good and it's just really unfortunate, but it's true. Like there's just some cases, and I'm sure, you know, not everybody is like this, but there's just some cases where it's like, in this instance right now, I need to find somebody quick, and I need to be able to like look at this and have it clearly say, and be clearly presentable too. Because I'll take this and I'll go to my art director and be like, look at this really quick. And he's got to be able to like look at it. And like sometimes art directors like can tell within like 5 seconds, you know, like within whether they're good or not, you know, like, so just making it very clear and organized and easy to follow, easy to click around, find something. And I know it sucks, but find something that where the images can load quickly. Like I've found so many websites where it's like the images just take forever to load, and it's probably, maybe it's like something on my end, but I don't know. It's frustrating. So I don't know, just do the best you can to have a very clean website or blog or however you want to present it. And then as far as resumes go, oh my gosh, I am just a huge stickler on resumes. Look at other resumes of people that you know are successful. I think that's the best way to always, you know, that's how I've learned from other artists and stuff, is looking at their work, you know, and seeing what studios want and seeing what is successful, and then seeing if I can be that successful or even better, you know. So resumes, make them clear. If it's designy, make it designy for a reason. Like it's gotta look good. That's what I'm basically saying. Like if you're gonna do images and stuff on it, it's gotta look like super professional and stuff like that. If it's like kind of mediocre, like I would just leave it off. I have zero artwork on my resume because it's like, here's the facts, you know, this is just what you need to know. I make it very clear, like super bold, right in your face. Hey, I've been a producer at Disney. Hey, I've been a manager at Nickelodeon. Like super clear, because that's the information they need to know. If you're looking for a production job, they don't need to know that you can draw or design or anything like that. So resumes, make them super clear, make them detailed, put important information on them. Yeah. Is that answer, or any other things I should say about it?
Also, just for everyone in the club, we're doing portfolio reviews with Julian Grant on the 4th of December. So like keep that in mind, get your portfolio ready. And then also in the Career Center, you can do walk-in and drop-in and like scheduled resume appointments for specific like animation resumes. So I recommend checking that out.
I actually used all of the resources that Columbia provided. Every single one of them that they provided, I used when I was there. So that's what I'm talking about as far as finding your opportunities and using them. You know, those things that Helen just said, make sure you use them, or at least try to use them. If it's like, you know, a limit on, I don't know how many people or something, but just do it.
Yeah. No, like I work for the Career Center.
What's the next question?
I think it's my question. Hold on. Sorry, someone was knocking at my door. I think the next question is mine, right?
see. I'm gonna look at the chat and find the next question, unless if somebody's got it.
So my question is, you talked about freelancing, and I don't know if you have any experience freelancing, but how would I go about like pitching?
Okay, so I see, how do you, oh, sorry, I can't hear.
Oh, is my volume low?
I can hear you.
Okay, my volume was down, sorry, that was
Oh,
me.
no, you're good.
What was the next question? Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Happens. So you talked about freelancing, and I don't know if you have any experience freelancing, but how would I go about, like, if I were to become a freelancer, how would I go about taking or getting opportunities to pitch a show that I have to become like a showrunner or a producer at a studio?
So pitching, so, and I might need you to clarify a little bit more. Like pitching and finding freelance would be a completely different process to go about. So did you want to hear about both, or?
I mean, like if I were a freelance, like background artist, for example, but I have like this show idea that I want to pitch to somebody, how would I move up to becoming like, to pitching a show, be able to run that show?
Got it. So you would definitely just want to get in touch with the development department that your studio is working for, or that your studio is working with. It depends on, like, you know, say at like Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, they all have development departments. They all have their own team that look for content, develop it for television, do pilots, things like that, right? But then there's also places like Shadow Machine, who you basically buy your content for you and like set up and own, like independent productions, you know, like Titmouse could do stuff like that, though they're doing a lot of Disney stuff now. And so there's a few different ways. If you're going to go like the studio network way, then you just have to get in touch with the development department. Usually there's a manager there that you could talk to. The way that we do it at Disney for employees is that we reach out to the manager in development. We schedule like an intro, you know, kind of like a very casual, this is kind of like, you know, what I'm looking to do with my future and stuff like that. And they tell you like, this is what they're looking for and stuff. And then they schedule, and then, you know, you schedule an actual pitch, you sit down, you pitch the show and everything to them, and you go from there. And then it becomes a whole other thing. The other one you would go through with getting an agent, and then you would basically try to sell that pilot script to a network, Netflix, Facebook, you know, any of those streaming platforms or anything like that. And you would go about that first by going through an agent. If you are not at a studio, you will have to have an agent, or they don't just take pitches like just off the street. You have to have some kind of you know, you have to be either an employee or you have to have an agent that has connections with the development department. So yeah, it depends on who you have connections with and what you're kind of where you're at that moment.
Thank you. That really helped.
Of course.
I had no idea like what the process was, but that really clarified things. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Cool.
Yeah. I don't think we currently have any more questions in the chat. So if anyone has any final ones, please throw them in there now. And you've also answered all of my questions that I came prepared with, especially with your great introduction. And I also love the background as
oh, thanks. I made this for you guys. Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, I do actually.
Awesome.
Here. I feel kind of stupid for asking, but what do you mean by there are no animation emergencies? Just so I'm like crystal clear on like what that really means.
So has anybody had like an instance where it's like, you know, like it's like down to the wire and like your deadline is like, you know what, I'm going to tell you guys a story, okay, about a time I had in Ron Fleischer's class. Okay, this is what I mean by no animation emergencies. I was it was oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the class, but it's the one where it was in the classroom, like right outside of the cage, and it's is it traditional animation techniques or oh, you're muted, Ron.
It's the DAT class, digital animation technique.
DAT, that's right, DAT class, yes. And I was, my final project was this little Billy Goat animation, and he talked about Chicago Cubs and stuff like that, and it was really fun. And like the night before, I was like, oh, I was so stressed, like it was due the next morning. And like we were gonna like all sit in the room and like show it and stuff like that. And I was so stressed. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I think it was like my first deadline of like my senior year or something. I was like, I can't start this off like missing this. And like I stressed myself out. I definitely like didn't like take care of myself. Like I didn't get enough sleep. I probably didn't eat properly. I lived on Diet Coke and Doritos when I was at Columbia. I did not like, I basically put everything else in my entire life on hold to finish a Billy Goat, like buying an anime, like a ridiculous Billy Goat, like, you know, just, it was important. It was very, very important. It was a final, it was very important to me. But the next day we got into class and Ron goes, you guys could have until next week. And I was like, what? I was like, there was no reason for me to freak out about it the night before. You know, there's absolutely no reason. And you can never anticipate things like that. However, there was a time also in one of Ron's classes. I think this was, oh gosh, it was like the single project class. I was working on Mugi, and we met like 5 times a semester or something. Traditional Animation Studio, I think it was called. And Ron told me, he said, if you miss one class, you fail. You can't miss one class this entire semester. I'm just kidding, but that's how I looked at things. You know, I thought, you know, we didn't, you know, it was again very important. I thought people were going to be disappointed with me if I missed classes, and I found out that my grandma had a stroke and was in the hospital and was not going to make it, basically. And I emailed Ron and I said, I don't know what to do because my grandma's in the hospital and I have this, and I listen, and at this time, and this is, you know, how young me thought at that point. At that time, I like was worried about what was the status of my project too. And I was like conflicted, and Ron was like, don't worry about it, you know, be with your grandma. That's, you know, that's more important. That's definitely more important. And that was like the first time that I really realized that there are no animation emergencies, because life and your health and everything else is way, way, way more important. You can always push the schedule. You could always push the schedule. I don't care if the thing airs on Disney Channel tomorrow, you can always push the schedule. Don't ever, ever forget that.
I learned that when I was working on my first toilet paper. It's only a toilet paper commercial.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I wasn't entirely clear on it, but now that's just like, that's something I'm definitely going to take forward from now on. Thank you.
Yes, of course. You're welcome.
You know, it's not often we hear about Ron's class as an example of how to not stress out.
Yeah.
No, I got two people here. I got Benito and Kevin from my APS class. I'm a changed man in APS now. Now it's like, you guys, look, just do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. So it's not like that. I tried to guide them to the right decisions, and I just let them make the decisions. And it's like, Jen, it's like, in the end, it's just another APS film. It's okay. Like, let them have their way. Let them learn from their decisions and their mistakes and the things that they did right. And just let them do it. Don't interfere so much. So I even stop when we keep showing the same sequence over and over again, then they have any, where is my thing? I can't find it. Oh, I throw it out. I have a piece of like gaffer's tape I just put over my mouth during the review. Like, you've heard me say, I don't like this. And I told you why so many times. I'm just not saying it anymore.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's really, at the end of the day, we're doing this because it's fun, it's fun, and we got to remember that it's fun. And yes, it's super, super hard work, but at the end of the day, it's fun. Oh my gosh, look who I got.
Right behind your desk or chair.
This is Remy. Oh my gosh.
Got it. What's his name?
His name is Remy. We adopted him in August. We couldn't get through the pandemic anymore without another dog, so I lost my my dog Layla last February. She had heart disease and stuff, and so right before the pandemic, we lost our dog, and it was not like, we didn't lose her. She passed away. She's not like running around out there. She passed away. And so, yeah, finally we got another one. We missed.
Got you through a lot of your LA experiences.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. I always say getting a dog was like the best decision I ever made after moving to LA, because she's just like, it was lonely. It was really lonely at times. I like left my family and stuff, and didn't have a lot of friends out here. So yeah, she was awesome. So my little baby.
She's so cute. Going off of what you just said about moving out to LA, how was that experience for you? Because I know a lot of us here in Chicago are gonna have to make that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like tips, advice, or common mistakes that students often make?
Well, I would definitely say getting a roommate is going to be your biggest, I didn't get a roommate. I struggled with paying my rent a lot when I first moved out here. Entry-level PAs do not make a lot of money. And, if you're able to, get an art position and stuff like that, you're going to make more money there. But it's, getting a roommate and just having, that support with each other, and having the support and having the being able to split your utilities and stuff like that is really helpful to kind of ease back on that just that financial struggle in the beginning, just because the act of actually moving is a lot. I paid a couple $1,000s to move all my belongings all the belongings that I could, afford to out here. And, I bought a car out here. I didn't need a car in Chicago. I had a little scooter. I still have my scooter. But, so I bought a car and things like that. So save your money. I would, when you're still able to use your student loans when you are, and this is probably not good advice, but I had to do it. If you're an internship and you're still a student, you're allowed to utilize your student loans, so my first 6 months out here, or my first 3 months out here, when I was an intern, I like lived off of, you know, my student loans basically, because I was still technically a student. And that helped a lot because they helped with relocation fees and stuff like that. Now, of course, I mean, I'm paying everything back now, and it's like, I mean, everyone knows how, I mean, you guys all have that to look forward to. Student loans, yay. You know, I've been out of school for 12 years, and I have, I think, like $36,000 in student loans still. So yeah, you know, finance is difficult, but you know, eventually you'll make more and more money, and you'll be able to catch up and stuff like that. And so just try to be as responsible as possible with finances. That's the biggest thing.
Thank you. And since we're coming up on the 4 o'clock mark over here in Chicago, I just want to thank Ron for setting this up. And Jen, thank you so much for coming. I know all of us have learned so much today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ron. It's so nice to see you. Oh my gosh, we had so many fun times together in school.
And we pretty much stayed in touch regularly since you graduated. Through every one of your professional experiences and through every one of your career changes.
Yes, yes.
I've been there with you vicariously.
Yes. Well, I have to thank you a lot for, you know, teaching me so much, especially in the APS class, and just, you know, guiding me into my professional career and stuff. It's really means a lot. So thank you.
I just tried to stay out of your way. You were a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wanted to mess with me, so.
No, there was nothing to mess with, really.
Just let her do her thing.
Or bunny on crack.
Oh, thank you, Ron, and thank you so much, Jim. I have to tell everybody, I tried CG when I was at Columbia, and I remember being in tears in Jim's office, like, I just can't do it. And he and Jim, you've just been so wonderful, and we've kept in touch too ever since. And
yeah.
And,
I want to, well, that's wonderful. The tears I remember. Although honestly, when it comes to the students over the last 15 years, that doesn't narrow it down much.
Yeah, right.
But what I remember is because we never actually had a class together, right? But Ron always talked you up, and you were like a force to be reckoned with in the hallways. And you came up to me and you said, you know, Jim, I'm moving to LA. And I kind of had more the dad hat on. I said, moving to LA, do you have a job out there? And you're like, well, not yet. And here we are, right? Success story now. Put me on record in 2008. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you wonder why my students don't listen to me and then go on to success. Trisha, you can quit smiling now, by the way. But I was like, no, you know what? You don't move till you have a gig. But here's the problem. They won't hire you unless you're local, at least back then. And so, you know, thank you for not listening to me.
Yeah.
And you know, and everyone else here, you know what the key to success is, no matter what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
You go 180 degrees the other way. But it really is wonderful seeing you again, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And also, you know, I just have to say that, like, you know, even though I was, you know, 12 years ago, I was crying in Jim's office about hating CG animation, I am, you know, I'm producing 2 CG animated, like, specials for Disney right now. And like, I am like a CG production guru, and, you know, in some areas. And like, I am all about, you know, the process. And so yeah, it's awesome. So just, you know, keep going. And, you know, you never have to be stuck on anything. You just keep experimenting and find what makes you happy. So.
Thank you so much again. It's been so great.